Adam Schefter, who joins us every Thursday at this time. And, boy, we got a lot of questions for Adam. Adam, it's Michael and Don. How you doing?
Michael, Don, what's going on? What can you possibly want to know?
Oh, well, we'll talk some football, but first let's talk some executive stuff. In your opinion, do you think that there's even the slightest chance that Roger Goodell could lose his job?
Yeah, there's a chance. If they come up with evidence that somehow he saw that video, that he performed his job as incompetently as many in the public believe he did, yes, he could lose his job. Do I think he will? If I had to guess today, I would say the answer to that is no. Because even though his support in the public eye has eroded greatly, and even though his credibility in the public eye has been compromised greatly, he still has, right now, I believe, the support of key owners. That's going into this investigation. Now, what the investigation turns up is an entirely different deal. The trust factor has been compromised. People have lost faith in him. We could talk about all those things, all the ways the NFL got this wrong, has gotten wrong. It's discipline on domestic violence over time. And again, all of our eyes have been open to this, okay? So it's not just Roger Goodell, all of us. But what you hear when you speak to owners and executives is that Roger Goodell was not the criminal in this case. He wasn't the one that threw the punch. He wasn't the one that hit the woman. That was Ray Rice. And that you hear Roger Goodell is a man of integrity, and that's fine. That's not in question. The question is, can he survive this? Has his credibility taken a hit? I think his credibility's taken a hit, and I think he can survive it. And I would guess he does, but the investigation will tell all.
See, the only way I think he survives it, Adam, is if they prove that this AP story is incorrect. I mean, even if that video ended up, I don't care if it's Mount Laurel, Los Angeles, or New York, if it ended up somewhere in the possession of somebody at the NFL, and Roger Goodell has gone on record saying he was trying to get his hands on that video, it's either a cover-up or gross incompetency. Either of the two are not going to make him look good.
There's no question about that. I mean, and that's been the conclusion of many all along, that it's one or the other. Okay, you either are not telling the truth or you did a completely flawed and incompetent investigation. And again, my guess would be right now that he had not seen the video. I'll say this, and again, I don't want to defend Roger Goodell because there's no defending him here. But if he had seen the video, let's just say he had seen the video. Can you imagine that anybody who saw that video would suspend a player for a mere 2 games?
No.
Seeing that? That's hard to imagine, right? Like, if that is the case, that he saw that and he suspends him 2 games, he absolutely should be fired, in addition to lying about it. It's just,
so, Adam,
it defies logic.
I want to connect the dots here. Did Ray Rice say he didn't hit her in the elevator to Goodell? And did Ray Rice ever tell the truth to Ozzie Newsome that he hit her?
Ozzie Newsome said, and I quote, that Ray Rice has told me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's according to Ozzie Newsome. Now, Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner, has said, Ray Rice told me he hit her with an open hand. My understanding, the way it's been explained to me, is that Ray Rice was forthcoming in his discussions with the Ravens and with the NFL. Now, again, everybody's got different interpretations of things.
Well, were you aware of the Wall Street Journal story that came out where one owner was quoted anonymously as saying that Goodell did not pursue this because he didn't want to insult Janae Rice, and he thought that he was under the impression that she fell during a scuffle in the elevator?
Again, I was aware of that, and it's amazing how many answers there are for decisions that failed to be made the right way.
Right.
I mean, it's just, and this is what I'm struggling to understand. Like, why couldn't it just be we grossly miscalculated the power of that punch and that video? We had not put a face and image with domestic violence, and now we have. And it's one thing to hear about it. It's another thing to actually witness it. And when you witness it,
sure,
as we all have, I mean, it's chilling, it's nauseating, it's sickening, it's eye-opening. And it's hard to imagine that Ray Rice was scheduled to be allowed to go back to work with the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow morning when he was reinstated until that video surfaced 3 days ago.
So now it's an indefinite suspension, but does he have the legal means, and would the NFLPA fight this if he tries to make the suspension more than 6?
Well, I think they have to take some form of action because the NFL, when Roger Goodell apologized for getting the Ray Rice decision wrong a couple of weeks ago, their new policy was 6 games for the first suspension or for the first act of domestic violence, up to a year for the second. Well, by the letter of the law, if we're going to go by their new domestic violence policy, then Ray Rice should have gotten 6 games, correct?
Right. Yep.
Yes.
So where does the indefinite suspension come from? And not only that, what changed from the time they handed down the 2-game suspension or announced their domestic violence policy to change it to an indefinite suspension? No, nothing other than that video was released. That's it. Ray Rice didn't do anything more than he had done back in February, which the NFL
I
knew
would
about.
think,
And, and not only that. Look, again, let's say they didn't see the video. Let's just go with that for a moment. They knew what happened in the elevator because people like Chris Mortensen and Peter King have described what happened in that elevator 3 months ago. How did they know that?
But isn't that a scary way to do justice because the crowd is screaming? That's exactly what's going on here.
Well, that's the unfortunate part of this, okay? Now, again, I think everybody's eyes have been open, and I think everybody, and this is a great thing, looks at domestic violence in a different way now. Mm-hmm. But there's a certain mob mentality going on right now, and it's the way society operates.